the game is over. The New York Jets are the world champions. They have upset the Baltimore Colts.
And the man who put it all together, head coach of the New York Jets, Weeb Ewbank.
My last game with the Jets, for some reason I thought it might be my last game with the Jets. So I put the very first play that Weeb ran in Super Bowl III as a tribute to him. You know, he like shifted the guards over.
There's a shift. The Jets shift.
So I did the same thing.
And they will shift both of their guards to the right, an unbalanced line right.
I think we got like 7. Should have kept running that play.
Steal a page from Weeb Ewbank if you can, coaches. Chances are, it's a good one. The proof is in Super Bowl III and the greatest game ever played. Those are perhaps the 2 most important games in NFL history. In both, Ewbank was the winning head coach.
The only coach, by the way, that won a championship in the NFL and the AFL. The only one. No other coach did that.
In all, he won 3 championships and was elected to the Hall of Fame the first year he was eligible. Yet, for all his accomplishments,
let me show you. Is that book there?
One afternoon in Oxford, Ohio, Ewbank's remarkable records were nearly lost.
When he died, his wife, Lucy Ewbank, not knowing how valuable the stuff was and how really significant it is historically, she had a yard sale in Oxford. Well, eventually, some stuff started coming onto the market, and I'd always been interested in Weeb, and of course, as a collector of things like that in history. And I said, wow, this would be a great thing to donate to his alma mater, Miami, and maybe start this Cradle of Coaches archive. You know, how many colleges have that hook?
I don't know, but they must have had a class at Miami, you know, on winning a championship. You know, that's probably why it's the Cradle of Coaches, right? It starts with Earl Red Blake, a Miami grad, and then a number of coaches that went through there: Woody Hayes, Sid Gilman, Ara Parsegian, Bo Schembechler, Paul Brown, Weeb Ewbank.
I think it's the sense that we had that Miami had such an honored legacy, and we've had such an honored legacy. These papers belonged back at the university, where those individuals that are interested in honing their craft can come here and see how it was originally developed.
Well, this is the quarterback strategy manual, which is actually the one that Johnny Unitas used to learn how to play quarterback.
The Ewbank papers are the foundation of Miami's archive, bringing football history to life.
Dear Joe, I have completed my staff as planned, and had not original plans been so successful, you were next to be offered a position on the Jet staff.
Coaching is teaching, so a university is the perfect home for what are really lesson plans, crafted by the professor with the grammar school name.
Coach, did you have a nickname?
Yes, Weeb. My younger brother tried to say Wilbur.
So it came out Weeb when he was a little kid. They were little. So that just stuck with him all those years of Weeb. And he said that everybody got it wrong. His jokes always were like, I'm called Heeb Ewbank, with Ewbanks.
Said if you're gonna be the one to present Weeb Ewbanks into the shrine.
He said if anybody gets my name right, it's a miracle.
Telegram, care of Coach Weed Ewbank, with a D at the end, Weed, and they also spelled Ewbank as if he was a sheep.
Followers tripped over his nickname, but were boosted by his playbook.
White 5, Joe! White 5, Joe!
He was, like I say, I think one of the greatest quarterback coaches of all time, based on his results with Unitas and Namath, taking 2 guys from scratch to NFL champions, especially with Unitas, who nobody wanted, and he became maybe the greatest quarterback of all time. Who had the first quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards? Not Sid Gilman, not Bill Walsh. Joe Namath, Weeb Ewbank's quarterback, was the first to do it. This shows what a modern offense and ideas he was using in 1967 that would look very similar to today.
Weeb Ewbank, number one thing he did was talk about protections, period. My dad thought that if it was that important to Weeb Ewbank to protect his quarterback, then it should be that important to get to the quarterback on defense.
But he took a lot of that to make his 4-6, 46 defense with the Bears.
A 46 blitz is called on second down.
A lot of those principles were based on what the Jets were doing in 1967, 68, 69.
I'm sure they're overshift.
I are 19. I don't care.
No, 119.
The players have a tendency to think they know more than the coaches. At least we did back then. But Coach Ewbank got smarter and smarter with every new coach I had.
Weeb was not a bombastic guy. He wanted his players to get the credit, I think, more than he got. He didn't want to draw attention to himself. And I think that, ironically, that has hurt him as far as legacy with a lot of fans today.
Football is a great game. It's been a labor of love for me. Lucy, my #1 assistant, who has been with me for more than 50 years, once said, after several attempts to get my attention at a breakfast table, "You know, I just realized your eyeballs are not round, they're oval."
The day he passed away in November of 1998, he was reading his Super Bowl III game plan, and it was on his chest when his wife found him, when Lucy found him there in his chair. Even at 90 years old, he was still reliving those ideas that he had and those moments that he had.
By his nature, Weeb Ewbank would blend into a crowd. It's his record that makes him stand out. And the records of it, which live forever at the alma mater of the youngest head coach in NFL history.
Very excited to be here.
He was inspired at the cradle of coaches. And others will be too. Anyone who wants to learn from one of the best.
You're lucky if you're with him. You're lucky. And for those that don't remember Coach Ewbank, they're just not students of the game, because he's one of the great coaches. He was great.